The SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, the junior novelization. Chapter 18. Inside the Krusty Krab, hungry customers sat around waiting for Krabby Patties that never came. Patrick sat at a table, famished. Squidward! He called for the millionth time. Still louder, Krabby Patties, Squidward said automatically. Patrick licked a photo of a Krabby Patty. Does anyone have a picture of ketchup? He asked. Sandy ran into the restaurant with a wild look in her eyes and announced, "I done figured it out!" All the serving customers turned and stared at her. She jumped onto a table. "We have angered the sandwich gods! Only a sacrifice will appease them!" "Well, that sounds reasonable," commented one of the angry customers. "Soon our post-apocalyptic whatchamacallit will be over, and Krabby Patties will rain down from above." Mr. Krabs frowned. "Rain down? Well, that's no good. How will I get me money?" A tough guy pointed at Mr. Krabs. "You don't like that idea? Then we'll sacrifice you!" "No!" Mr. Krabs cried, drawing back. "You don't want a crusty old crab like me. How about Squidward?" "Well, then we'll sacrifice him too!" the tough guy said. "Well, anything's better than working in this dump," Squidward said. The angry mob surged forward, grabbed Mr. Krabs and Squidward, and carried them out of the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs and Squidward screamed. Flash! Suddenly, the time-traveling photo booth appeared out of thin air. Astonished by the sight of the time machine, the mob dropped Mr. Krabs and Squidward. Then the crowd parted as SpongeBob and Plankton emerged from the photo booth. "It's not a good idea to have a sacrifice on an empty stomach," SpongeBob said. He held out the bottle he'd grabbed from the safe. "Who wants a Krabby Patty?" The starving crowd cheered. "Hooray!" they shouted. "SpongeBob!" Mr. Krabs cried. "Is that me formula?" Overjoyed, he rushed to his loyal fry cook. "Oh, happy day!" Mr. Krabs grabbed the bottle and kissed it. "Oh, I missed you so much." Then he asked SpongeBob, "Where was it? Where did you find it?" SpongeBob smiled modestly. "Well, Plankton and I built a time machine out of an old photo booth, and then we added cheese," Patrick said, sitting in the booth, smiling for the camera. "Patrick, no!" SpongeBob cried. Too late. Vroom! Whir! A time machine vanished in a flash. Mr. Krabs addressed the crowd of hungry customers. "It's okay, everyone. The post-apocalypse is almost over. Ain't that right, SpongeBob?" Mr. Krabs triumphantly reached into the bottle, pulled out the piece of paper inside, unrolled it, and started to read. "Eugene, eat my subaquatic air bubbles. Love, Plankton!" "Ugh!" Mr. Krabs groaned. Plankton wheeled on SpongeBob. "You grabbed the wrong bottle!" "How was I supposed to know there were two bottles?" SpongeBob asked, shocked. "Because there are always two!" Plankton screamed. "The real one and the decoy!" "I'm sorry, Mr. Krabs!" SpongeBob cried. Mr. Krabs tossed the rude note from Plankton aside. "That's okay, SpongeBob. We'll just have to sacrifice the two of you!" He turned to the hostile mob. "Prepare them for the sacrifice!" Flash! A time machine reappeared. Patrick stepped out. "I bring a message from the dawn of time!" "What is it, Patrick?" SpongeBob asked. "Run! Ah!" Patrick shouted. He took his own good advice as a Squidward Rex burst out of the time machine, destroying it. "A Squidward Rex!" Squidward cried. For a prehistoric monster, he's terribly handsome. A dinosaur stomped through what was left of the Krusty Krab. The angry mob fled. The beast tore the remains of the restaurant apart. "Gee, that's exactly what I've always wanted to do," Squidward said admiringly. Still mad about bringing back the wrong bottle, Plankton glared at SpongeBob and growled. Now what do we do?
Well, Plankton, I guess we failed to accomplish our goals.
We?
But even failure hurts a little less when you do it as a team, right?
This is all your fault! Plankton yelled. Ooh, the crowd said. Even the Squibblsaurus Rex stopped its rampage to watch the fight between Plankton and SpongeBob.
My fault?
SpongeBob asked. You're the one who stole the wrong secret formula, Plankton said accusingly.
I didn't know there were 2 bottles.
Of course you didn't, because you have cotton candy for brains. Ooh, the crowd said again. Plankton turned to them. No, seriously, he really does.
Well, we wouldn't even be in this mess in the first place if you weren't so selfish and evil,
said SpongeBob. Wrong! I was selfish and evil until you ruined everything with your teamwork. SpongeBob gasped. You are the worst teammate ever! Plankton ranted. I wish I never sung that stupid song with you.
You take that back!
Come on, let's sing it again, Plankton said sarcastically. He started singing, Team Jerks, Team Jerks, Team Jerks.
Stop it!
SpongeBob cried, but Plankton just kept singing, Team Jerks, Team Jerks, Team Jerks.
Stop!
SpongeBob screamed, kicking over a trash can. Oh! The crowd said for the 3rd time. SpongeBob grabbed a recycling bin, dumped it, and mixed up everything on the floor. Oh my Neptune, said one shocked citizen. He's mixing garbage and recycling. SpongeBob, panting and gasping, SpongeBob noticed everyone staring at him. He looked at himself.
Look at me. Why, I've become like all of you. Savage, fear-ridden, and selfish.
The angry customers looked at each other, feeling ashamed.
An entire town full of formerly good citizens turned into harmless freaks.
SpongeBob went on.
Bent on their own
Preservation? Suggested one member of the mob.
Yes,
SpongeBob said.
We've become alienated from each other, each one an island unto himself, concerned only with ourselves. And in the name of officialhood, I am not about to let that happen.
SpongeBob tore a piece of cloth off a handy fish's clothing and tied it around his head like a bandana.
And so, if a sacrifice is needed to restore Bikini Bottom to its former glory, then I am willing to take one for the team.
Tears filled the eyes of all the citizens. You heard him, Squidward said. The angry mob grabbed SpongeBob, lifted him over their heads, and carried him off. Stay tuned for Chapter 19, coming up soon.